Hey everyone, we are here with Shana Tucker, and she will be joining us this summer on Elm Street's Event Green. So we're really excited to have her. And Shana, tell us a little bit about yourself just to start off.
Yes. Well, let's see. My name is Shana and I'm a Libra. What can I tell you? So I play cello. This is my main instrument, the cello that you're going to be hearing today. This is Thomas. I have I have three cellos. This one is the one I play most often, Thomas. My first cello, Malachi, is probably like, "Where you at, girl?" Because I dropped him off to get some work done, and then everything, the world changed, and so he's kind of in his own quarantine at the repair shop. And then I have an electric cello, a 5-string electric cello that I play um, sometimes. I should probably pick it up more. But I had originally gotten it to travel with because it fits in the overhead and it sounds like cello. That one's name is Pretty Head because it's like about this big. It's cute. What else about me? I am a songwriter. Largely, I've been telling. I mean, I feel like I'm a storyteller that sets stories to song. I feel like that's more accurate because the songs that I write and the songs that I sing that are covers or reimaginings, um, there's always got to be some type of story that I can relate to. Whether if I wrote it, it's not just my experience. There's a lot of people that experience the same thing, just different details, you know. Um, and then there's just songs that I just like a lot that need to continue living and breathing the way that my body tells the story, you know. Um, what else about me? I like long walks in the park. I'm also a teaching artist. I really that I think that that's like my favorite. That's my favorite thing to do. Like as far as my professional stuff, because I get a chance to go in and talk about um, what I do for a living and why I do what I do for a living and how we tell these stories and how everybody you can write a song about anything, like seriously, anything, and anybody can write a song. And so to be able to like remind people of their creativity is so of all ages is like that's like the best part of my job. So I don't know what else to tell you, honey. I got there's lots of Shana Tucker. We don't have a lot of time.
Well, let's expand a little bit on what chamber soul is. I
Yeah.
love that term. I love what it means, but let's kind of share with the audience what do you feel that means?
Yeah. ChamberSoul, the concept, one word, chamber, and then capital S smushed together. It came about as a result of telling people all the things that my music is not. And like that was a long monologue. So I just said, you know what, let's just bring it down to like the core, right? Classically trained cellist. I do not play or profess classic classical music anymore, you know, but I love chamber music. And chamber music I feel has you know, it's got its origins in the classical world, but it is expanded into this whole like a whole other atmosphere that is music that is played in intimate spaces, and that space can be defined with, you know, on stage or in a room with audience, small audience, or just the style of music that's played, right? There's a dialogue that happens between all the players where if the melody is this and the cello starts with it, and then at some point I hand it off to the next player, and then it hands off to the next player, and then we're all playing like this, and then maybe it goes like this, you know. But like all of that dialogue is very similar to great conversation, you know. It is great conversation, it's just not words. And so to be able to communicate like that with my friends that I'm playing with, and to incorporate the energy that comes from the audience in that space, we create this sort of chamber of goodness right? And then like, yeah, his shoulders. mm. And then the soulfulness. I think people, I can understand how someone would be like, okay, so like Aretha Franklin, and I'm like, no. Okay, so like Otis Redding, I'm like, no. It's just like at the core, it is the intent of where it's coming from and where I hope that it will end. You know, like where the resonating chambers, um, from my soul to your soul. That's what this music is about. And it's funny when people are like, she created her own genre, and I'm like, uh, I mean, I don't know. Maybe one day there'll be a Grammy category for ChamberSoul. I don't know, but I know that for me, it was a lot easier to just say this is the style of music that I play. It's improvisational, but not exactly jazz. Like there's jazz elements, but it's not exactly jazz, and there's pop elements acoustically, but it's not pop, and there's folk elements, but it's not folk. And I'm classically trained, but it's not class. You know, it's all that not. It's just like it's chamber soul, y'all. Just listen.
Yeah, no, and it is great. If I love the fact you were able to come up with terminology for it, because
Yes.
you know, just listening to it, it is like, okay, there are jazz, there are classical, but it's not either.
Yeah.
Which is really fun and exciting. You touched on it a little bit. Improvisation, I firsthand can say you're great at. I already told you via email. For our audience's sake, we saw Shauna for the first time at PAE 2 years ago. And she improvised her booth number, booth 319, into a
Can't believe
song.
you still remember
I
that.
remember it to this day. And you had the audience singing along. And honestly, it was in that moment that my executive director and I looked at each other and said, we got to book her. I mean, it was so much fun. And tell us a little bit about your improvisation process.
Oh man.
Which I know is a loaded question.
Well, it's for me the big breath is like I just don't really. There are times that I'm actively thinking about it, and then there's times where I'm like, you know what, I have to say this thing, and I want people to know this thing. And so like the vocal improvisational things, you know, off the cuff, like I needed to tell people that where to come find me so that we could talk about doing what we're doing right now, which is, you know, basically a performance in some sort, outreach, or, you know, whatever. And so what is the memorable thing? Like, it's funny, like when we're in performance, we were in Dallas in February, and a lot of spaces, performing arts spaces, will be like, please silence your cell phones and turn them all the way off, you know. And I'm like, oh God, I hate that I didn't tell somebody. There's a way to be respectful about use of your cell phone but still leave it on, because I am okay with seeing that on social media somewhere, right? The perpetuation of grassroots, I'm okay with that, because I know our performance is good, and I know that whatever unless your like film is all like this, you know, whatever. But someone did not turn their cell phone off, and I was talking, and it was like did or whatever, right? And I was like, ooh, and then we started making up a cell. I was like, you bet you didn't turn your cell phone, and if you post this, then tag me at SHANATUCKER or whatever. Like, you know, I don't know. Just my life has been like one big creation of a song. You know, like food is good. We just sing. Me and my brother would be like, Mom got it right tonight. She cooked dinner and it didn't burn. Mom got it right tonight. I mean, you can put a melody and a rhythm to anything and make it memorable, you know? And so I was like, we're already, and I want y'all to come to booth 319. I don't remember how that goes. I'm happy that you did. Some of this stuff, I'm like, I need to walk around with a tape recorder and be like, that was good. Let's play that back, you know? But improvisation, I think I know that I think a lot more about what I'm doing when I'm playing cello, because it was ingrained in me formally about right ways and wrong ways, or later on, right ways and better ways, or every note wants to go somewhere. And so there is no wrong note. It's just your intention. And so improvisation, you know, there's always some parameters, right? With booth 319, the parameters are, I have 30 seconds to tell people where to find me. What do we do with that space in between? Let's sing it. Bam, go. A lot happens under pressure.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And how is improvisation? I'm a former jazz saxophonist, and I got
Former, always.
true, true. It's sitting right over there, and I broke it out the other
Sabbatical. See?
day. But I know that there was a lot of training that went into that. How has transitioning from more of like jazz teachings going into your own kind of style of music? What varies between the two, if anything?
Oh, there's a lot of variation. I should say, in my mind, you know, critical Shana shows up often, and critical Shana is like, you're not a jazz musician, you didn't study jazz, you don't know what you're talking about, jazzy wannabe perpetrator. Sit down, right? That's critical Shana. And so I think I do what many of us do when we want to be better, or we want to know more. I think the logical thing is to surround yourself with people who know what you want to know and who are doing what you want to do. And some of that will, you know, osmosisize. I don't even think that's a word, but you know what I'm saying?
It is now.
Thank you. There we go. And Merriam-Webster, you're welcome. Okay. You can, like, you know, the permeation of just being around certain sounds and having the courage to just to try and to have, you gonna mess up. Like that's still my biggest hurdle. It's like I wish that I had the courage when I was at Howard University to just knock on some professors' doors and be like, I play cello, I'm a classical musician, I know nothing about jazz, but I want to. And then to be in that space where I sound like some blood on a stick. Sorry, I don't accurate visual. Anyway, just sounding horrible. and know what that sounds like. So I'm like, okay, I know where that is. I know where that is on my instrument. I don't want to do that. How do I take that and turn it into something that I do want to sound like, the sound that I do want to make? And I think what I'm learning is that all of my formal don't necessarily, there's a lot of overlap, but it doesn't necessarily translate when you're talking about taking the skills that you already have and applying it to a new style of music, and not making those parameters here, but being like, okay, just try. You know what a G major scale is, right? G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G. So where's the seventh? Oh, F sharp. Now you know what a G7 chord, like if you just did G and then the seventh, you know what a G7 chord is. That's jazz. Like that's a foundation of jazz. And so we start with these little baby steps and add a lot of self-grace, self-grace. And then, you know, then it allows me to like take bass lessons. I bring my cello to a lesson with a jazz bass player to understand how bass lines and bass solos work. And then I apply that to my instrument. And then I'm like, I walk out like feeling like I'm like, you know, 13 years old again, like, yeah, I know how to do it. I did this. And it's just a scale, you know? Anyway, did I answer your question?
Yeah, that was awesome.
Okay.
I've done a little bit of research on you, just basic stuff, but I'm curious. You actually did some work with Cirque du Soleil. What was that like, and does it have any influence on the music you're playing today? And it's okay if the answer.
It was, let's see. Yes, it does have, there's a lot of influence on my time, from a lot of influence on my music and the way that I play and the way that I I'd say like it's more my artistry, not the style of music that I play,
Okay.
because that music is so different. When I got the call for the audition, I was like, is someone pranking? Where's where's Justin Kutcher? Is that his name? Right? It's for
Is it Justin Timberlake or is it Ashton Kutcher? I don't know who's.
Ashton Kutcher. Thank you. I was
You were
mashing them up.
combining them. That's great. That would be a great mashup.
I love them both. It would be. If they had a baby, that'd be a cute baby, right?
Yeah.
A funny baby, very funny. Anyway, it was weird because I was just like, I don't I don't play like this. Do they know who they're calling, who they're reaching out to? And the reason why they had heard an interview that I did on the radio, and they were in need of a cellist who sings. And I was like, should I do this? This music is going to be too hard. But it wasn't impossible. And I learned the show. And more than anything, I learned, like, my artistry level went from here to here. Oh, I didn't realize I was sweating that hard. I'm nervous. Can you tell? No. Yeah. But it was through the roof, because the quality bar with Cirque du Soleil and everyone is fantastic, from administration to sound team and props and wardrobe and the cobbler, the woman that makes the shoes, like that's her job to make all the shoes in the show. And she's fantastic. And that's not the only thing that they do really well. Like there's acrobats who have been to the Olympics that also could be pastry chefs if they chose to, because they can bake at that level, and they've taken this process of honing the craft and just transferred it into another thing that they like to do. And so for me, having worked with Cirque du Soleil for 5 years and being able to understand the place that my body and my mind has to go to play the same music 10 times a week, like 2 shows a night, 5 nights a week, the same music, and make it sound like this is the first time, like the first show, and that excitement every single time takes a very specific skill set. But it helps for when I go on tour, and and this that we're taking for spring 2020. How do we make that sound new and exciting? Like this is the very first time we're playing it, even though this is like the 23rd date,
Mm-hmm.
And then also just understanding that artistry. When I went to Cirque, I was, playing in the restaurants and doing a lot of weddings and doing necessary work. But I just had no point of reference for what next level was, right? And so to be able to see a major production and music and how it could sound and what the tools are to get there, and being like, oh, I can just add this now, and I just need a different mic, and maybe I need different strings, and so the level of artistry just was like, and so I became a diva, and so now I walk around with sunglasses all the time, even grocery shopping. Where are my sunglasses? Where am I? Okay.
No, that's really cool. I didn't actually know that about you until I was doing some research last night, and I went, "Oh, I gotta ask about Sarah." Huh.
Look at that.
Obviously, you're a fun personality to be around, and your career has taken off since then, which is really exciting. You've been touring, and I gotta ask, what has been your favorite place to go to?
I had a lot of fun in New Orleans. Like the first time what's funny is that I had a gig in Alexandria, Louisiana, which is about, I think, maybe 2.5 hours inland from New Orleans. And we had some dates in North Carolina, and then we had like 3 days between the Alexandria date. So we were like, let's go to New Orleans. It was in February too, and it was a week before Mardi Gras. So that was even better because there weren't a lot of tourists, but there was still local parades. Like when we were driving from the airport to our Airbnb, we got stuck in traffic because there was a parade and there was another parade. And so we finally were just like, let's just park and be in the parade. And so, you learn how to do the dancing and you got the scarf somewhere. It was great. It was great. It's beautiful there. And they have so many wonderful resources for local musicians. Like we had a rehearsal. My friend Amy was playing piano with me on this tour, and we picked up a bass and drum player that we had been referred to, and they brought us to this rehearsal space. I think it's called the New Orleans Jazz Market, something like that. But it's a part of the library system, and it has rehearsal rooms in it that have all the plugs that musicians need, like enough electricity without, and they're not 2-pronged, they're 3-pronged, right? And like, oh, you need a 6-way? They're in the cabinet. And you're like, what? And then you can record in the room. What are you talking about? You can just record a rehearsal? Oh my God, it was great. I was like, this is my bar now. And then there was so much bread. Oh my God, Brian. There was so much bread. There was beignets and donuts and bread and touffee, and it was so good. I don't drink, so I like it. Like, being out on the street drinking was not like a thing for me. But being on the street with 2 hands full of bread, like
yeah, well, everyone
and some coffee,
really big drinks. You're over here with 2 baguettes.
Bread. I got bread. It's just like, oh my gosh, that was fun. That was fun. We were in a parade. We were in a parade. We went to Congo Square. It's the middle of the day, right? 2:00 in the afternoon, something like that. And the Preservation Hall band, the guy with the curly hair and the tuba, they were leading the parade. It's just like a regular parade, just like regular folks, like locals. Like, I was like, oh my God, this is my life. This is my life. So that was fun. That has nothing to do with the gig, but the gig was fun too. But all of that was fun.
I mean, no, I love hearing stories like this. If we're going to talk about, you really seem to love the Southeast too.
Yes.
From the work I've seen you do with South Arts and things like that. What made you decide to stay in North Carolina?
I love North Carolina. Like, I love it. Like, when I'm a New Yorker. I was actually born in LA, but then like at age 2 became a New Yorker. Even though I don't have the accent, I'm a New Yorker, right? Yeah. Anyway, my son's father's family is down here, and we would travel for family reunions from Brooklyn, or when we lived in DC, just like we'd go down south. And that has always been a thing for me, like ever since like I was little and friends would like leave for the summer and they go down south. I just didn't have a concept of down south until an adult. And so we'd be driving, and like Smithfield is not deep in the country. Is not deep in the cut, but it's not like right around the corner from Raleigh. So having to drive through fields, and like 2-lane highways, and like just to the combination of seeing green and blue, like big blue sky. Oh my God. I was just like, I think I'm home. And then people, like when you drive down the street, like they're walking their dog and they're outside and they just go like this. I'm like, do you know them? And my ex-husband was like, no, that's what we do. Is you just like, the cars come in, people just wave. And I'm like, what? So I was like, so I started doing it. I was like, so shy to like be like, and so now every time, I don't care if I see people on the street, I'm driving, I'll be like, put that hand up. It's a thing. I love it. So yeah. Being here in the South is just like, it is home. When I got the call for Vegas, I didn't know if because each contract is annual. I didn't know how many annual contracts I was going to renew, but I did know that after whatever the last one, I knew I was coming back to North Carolina. Because I love living here. I love the way that the entire state supports the arts and artists, and is proud of the work that we're doing, and makes a concerted, more than a concerted effort, like is really, really dedicated to making sure that people understand that you don't have to move to Austin, and you don't have to move to Nashville, and you don't have to move, all due respect, to Atlanta, and you don't have to move to New York or LA to be a thriving, self-sustaining, accomplished, and dare I say, we're working on it, world-renowned, we're working on it, artist that just happens to proudly call North Carolina home.
Yeah, I know, and I'm honestly, being from not Atlanta, Georgia, really proud of that. We're actually kind of close to the Kennesaw State area as well, so
yeah.
So we're just a little bit outside of the city, but we're loving being here and being able to bring in almost world-renowned artists like yourself. I've asked a couple other people this, but do you feel like you've had your I'm doing it moment? You know what I mean? Like, I'm really here doing this for a career. Or do you feel like that hasn't hit yet?
I feel like it's fleeting, or I should say it shifts, because I remember feeling that even like years into my contract with Cirque, I remember saying that, like, this is my job. Wait a minute. Like, you go into this big giant theater that seats almost 2,000 people, that is closer to full than empty every single time there's a show. And or I'm waiting, like I'm running up the stairs. Our studio where we play most of the show is like 4 flights under the stage, and so I'm running to the elevator, and I'm running up the stairs to go to my cue, and I'm like running in my costume and my makeup, and I'm like, all this like super duper high tech gear, and I'm like, the curtain opens or whatever, and I'm just like, this is my life. This is my life. Wow. Okay. What? Wait, I went to Amityville Memorial High School. What are you talking about? So like, there's like moments like that, or when I meet people that whose work I love, and I get a chance to just have a casual, normal human being conversation with them, when inside I'm all like, oh my God. Like when I met Regina Carter, I was just like, keep it together. Don't embarrass yourself. Don't embarrass yourself. I was just like, I love you. I love everything just like comes out, and she's just like, she's a normal person, it's like moments like that when I'm like, or like when there's a song that we're, my musical director and friend pianist, so all these have slashes, Christian Timbre, if we have time, I may play this song. It's called Hiding in the Light. And the first time we played it, well, I should say, the first time we played it and I got through it without crying, I was like, this is I think we could win a Grammy with this. Like, and like we do all these like talking, like, we're gonna win a Grammy, yeah, that's right, we're gonna be like, and you go first, and then I'm gonna say something, and then like we dream kind of in play, but like I just remember, like right now, I just felt that like the reminiscent remains of knowing like that song, that is a Grammy worthy song. And then it's like, then we get to like, how do you do the work to get it to a place where it needs to be so that it can be heard? And even in those moments where I'm talking about strategy for next albums, and putting on my vision board in my mind, I want to be a MacArthur Genius Fellow. I want that, so how does that happen? Those moments too are, wow, this is my life. That's a moment. These are all moments that like fuel the reason why it's so easy for me to get up, and even in a moment like this, in time in this world where I don't know when I'm going to make money again, you know, doing what I do, but it still fuels me and still feeds my soul, you know?
Yeah.
Ooh, that sounds so corny, but it's true. Ooh, that sounded cliche, but it's true.
And you brought this up a couple of times. We have a lot of singer-songwriters in our community, and talking to a lot of them, there's always that little negative Shana or negative. How do you find you overcome that? Is it through comedy with yourself? Is it through, you know what, like I messed that up, but you know what, we can make it fun of it. You know, how do you, especially with the improv, and that gives you more room to mess up because it's not written down somewhere. How do you overcome that?
I think that being a teaching artist and having to explain my process has helped me to hear myself empower other people and to remember to like save the big piece of chicken for me, right? Because I can't tell a student like we talk about recovery, right? When you're playing and I'm doing a solo and like still learning my instrument, still take lessons to you know, dust off all of the like stuff that was 20 years ago when I was in school, right? It's helpful to become reacquainted with the instrument so that I can say on the instrument what my mind and my heart want to say. But there's still those moments of, that's not what I wanted to do, right? There has to be the courage to hear that miss hyphen take, not error miss, right? Like your body meant to do that, but like it wasn't maybe what you thought you were going to do, but you did it. And so now you know what that sounds like, and what do you make of that in real time, right? My classical journey was just sort of there was a lot of wrong, you know, or that's not right, or that's not how this is the right way. And music is not that stringent. I just don't believe that. Even in the most confined spaces, there's still, you have to be able to allow yourself space so that you can hear yourself, and then that critical Shana, that yabba dabba doing, you know, that took a little therapy to not be so, by a little I mean consistent therapy to not tear myself down and talk myself out of an opportunity because I'm not ready, you know, like, yeah. So like live streaming, right? I did this live stream empowerment thing because I'm telling you, 3 days before we actually did the live stream, I was like, I'm not doing a live stream. Everybody's always talking about, you should just do it. If you just did a live stream, I would pay good money for that. You should just. And I'm like, if I hear you should just one more time, like you have no idea what goes into setting up a live stream. It's not just anything. I'm not doing it. And I was like, let me just go on here and see what's involved.
Let me just do it. let
me just, right? And then I realized it's not that difficult. And then I was like, you shut up, critical Shana. Like I can't believe that you got in the forefront. It's like, I'm not that. Because at the end of the day, people just want to hear music, good music, and hear good stories. And if I just take a little effort to remember that it's not about being on display, it's not about showing off my talents or anything like that. It's like, we are all here in this bizarro world right now, and people just want to smile and feel good and be reminded that there is something good. So just, Shana, just figure it out and show up, you know? I hope I answered your question then. I don't know. I feel like I went on a diatribe, yeah.
you did. And honestly, I've been loving all of your answers because they just, they answer a lot of questions I had anyway. So I'm going to spin off that a little bit because you just brought it up. But you have been doing a lot of live streaming, which I've been really excited to see. Our organization has been doing a lot of live streaming just for content as well.
Thank you.
And we've also been doing story times with some of our volunteers and their families. So it's been really cool to see. What we'll do is when we edit this video back, I'll throw some photos up of the photos you sent me. But
yes.
You're also doing some live streaming story time for families as well.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about your process of how you've developed your live streaming content.
Okay. So there's the live streaming content, and then there's the pre-recorded. I'm scared to do live streaming with children. I'm just going to say it because I can't even imagine, like, can you imagine what that comment thread would be? First of all, would I be able to understand, depending on, like, this first thing that we're doing is for like pre-K through probably grade 3, right? So there wouldn't be too many spelling challenges. Plus, I feel like I should give children of the 21st century a lot more credit because they were born with, with athletic thumbs. They know how to do stuff that I just get, I'm just going to shut up about that. But live streaming, what I realized is that after doing it the first time and feeling like that when we were done that I had just been run over by a Mack truck, just in terms of like, oh my goodness, we're on Instagram and then we're on Facebook and then we're on YouTube and then we're, hi everybody, wait, YouTube, you can't hear me? Okay, let's just do. I mean, I felt like there's an episode of I Love Lucy where she and Ethel are like in the chocolate factory and it starts going faster. That was me and Christian trying to figure all of this out at the same time, right? It was crazy. It was exhilarating in a way that promotes me to want to do it again, but not that way. Work smarter, not harder, right? Mm-hmm. And so for me, live streaming is if it's a performance and there's certain things that I need, like I have a ring light. It's very subtle, and we're doing this during the day. I have a lot of light in my bedroom, so that's great. But like, I have this, let's see. I have this little, I don't know if you can see this. Uh-huh. It's a little, H1 microphone that just allows me to be able to talk to you and not feel like I have to be closer. You can't hear me. How about now? I don't have to do all of that, right? Yeah. But it also picks up the cello really well. And I know that the quality of my performance can still, if I'm offering this as a performance and we're selling tickets, that I'm not feeling like I'm gypping people out of an experience. But again, it's like keeping that bar that I was talking about when I was learned to establish a high bar and maintain that even when we have to modify the performance.
Well, on that vein, I think we're running a little bit low on time, but I'd love to see how your setup works and if there's anything you'd like to play for us, including your future Grammy Award-winning song.
How much time do I have?
As much time as you want.
Oh, okay. So
I probably have to hop off at around 10:55 to moderate one of our Facebook events, but so that gives us, never mind. That's like 5 minutes. Let's say like 10:58. I can hop on a Facebook real quick.
All right. So here's what I'll do. Can I play a little bit of a song and then a little bit of song and then, because you have videos for all of them?
I trust you. So we have the videos and whatever you need.
Okay. So I'm going to do first, I'm going to do a little bit of Fast Car, because everybody always asks for Fast Car. It's the Tracy Chapman joint that is just, like, it's a great song. Why would I say no to that? Okay. And so I have my my friend Keith Gans. He, bless his heart, he recorded guitar for this. Where is it? Okay. So I'll play a little. Oh! Don't play it. Don't play. Okay. Sorry, I have my phone with my aux. These are my backing tracks, and I have it set up to my little teensy amp that looks like a space heater. And so that is plugged in, and then it just comes through the room sound. Let's see. 1, 2, 3. that a decent level?
Yeah.
Okay. You got a fast car. I want to take it to anywhere. Maybe we can make a deal. Maybe together we can get somewhere. Any place is better. Starting from zero, got nothing to prove. Maybe we can make something. Me, myself, I got nothing to lose. You got a fast car. I got a plan to get us out of here. I've been working at the convenience store. Managed to save a little bit of money. We won't have to drive too far. Just cross the border and into the city, and maybe we can both get jobs. Finally see what it means to be living. See, my old man's got a problem. He lived with the bottle, that's the way it is. He said his body's too old for working. Said his body's too young to look like his. My mama went off and left him. Wanted more from life than he could give. I said, somebody's got to take care of him. I quit school, that's what I did. You got a fast car, but is it fast enough? Sure, we can fly away. You gotta make a decision. Leave tonight or live and die this way. But remember what we would try. Driving in your car, seems fast, felt like I was drunk. City lights laid out before us, and your arm felt nice right around my shoulder. And I had a feeling that I belonged, and I had a feeling I could be someone, be someone, be someone. This song is a lot longer, but you said you had to go at 10:58, so I'm gonna shut it down now and move on to the next song. There's your improvisation, right?
Love it. I also realized I lied. We have more time than that.
Oh, we do?
Yeah, we don't stream our thing until 11:30. I thought it was 11.
Oh.
We got time.
Oh. We got time.
There's so much time.
Okay. Would you like to hear another song?
I would love to hear another song. I love, honestly, the best part about these interviews is I've just been like an audience of one, like, damn it.
It's like Tiny Desk series, but
just for me. It's the tiniest desks.
It's the tiniest desk. Tiny audience series, yes.
Love it.
Christian and I recorded this as a isolation video, and so you'll hear you'll hear 4 notes at the beginning. That's for us to like sync up the video so that we can, I clap, he does that, and then I know when it's starting.
Cool.
It's so funny because when I hear it, it sounds like a Jamie Aebersold, like 1, 2, ready, play, you know, but it's,
yes,
it kind of is that, but it's, you know. Anyway, Hiding in the Light by Christian. The song is written by Christian Tamber, and the lyrics are Christian and his co-writing friend Clint Holmes. Okay. Oh, wait, come back. Okay. Oh, I turned it down. I did a natural fade. Excuse me. Let me turn it back up. Hiding in the light, seen but out of sight. Who was she then? Who is she now? Silent she will stay. Trust she won't betray. The tears she wept are secrets kept. Wrapped in mystery. Can she wake her heart and see? She could be free. Back to before, stainless and pure, when she was sure love was real. Wrapped in her shell, is it too late to tell her to feel? Just to feel, hiding in the light, seen but out of sight. I see who she could be. Stainless and pure, when she was sure love was real. Wrapped in her shell, is it too late to tell her to feel? Just to feel, hiding in the light, seen but out of sight. I see who she could be. I love that song.
So
Oh my
good.
gosh.
When is that coming to Spotify? When can I start streaming that like constantly?
So the thought was that it's going to be the first single on, I'm calling it Shine #2 because I don't know what this next album is called. But you know, it's so interesting with the way that people release music nowadays. I feel like it's totally okay for us to release that months in advance of the actual album and then just release singles and then release the album, which so short answer is secretly, maybe not so secretly because this is going to be public. I want to release it in September on my birthday because that would be a wonderful birthday present, I think.
Yeah.
Especially because the song, it just like the reason why I started crying when I heard it the first time is because I was like, this is kind of my life. Like, you know, I'm out in the public all the time, right? And I'm present. I'm not hiding, but like I forget a lot of times like what my own personal purpose is. You know, it's so easy to get wrapped up in Shana Tucker, the cellist. Shana Tucker's performing here. Shana Tucker's teaching here. But like, that's like a name, you know, like who's just Shana?
Mhm.
Where is she? Like, can she just like be there for herself and not all these other people, family and, you know, general public? And so that song, just to be able to play it with just piano and cello, and how the cello is so supportive of the story, you know, it's not doing a whole lot of extra. It's not. It's
Right.
just whole notes and go on, girl, sing that song, you know. And then it becomes this duet in this where the cello sings. Let's change the subject before I start like tearing up again. This is such a beautiful song.
Um,
Ugh.
will we be able to hear it in June?
At the live performance?
Hmm.
Yes, duh.
Okay, good. That's a real,
Sure.
because you've
Yeah,
already.
that's all I want to know.
I'm pulling out my phone and recording it. So,
This version is on YouTube. I just released a video, so you
yeah,
can.
I think I got your email about that. I'm on the email list. I subscribe. Go to ShanaTucker.com and click the
No,
subscribe
that's right. Thank you. My hype team, my street team. Yes.
I do what I can. I do what I can. Cool. Did you have one more thing you want to share with us, or do you want to just end it on that lovely note?
I feel like we can end it on that lovely note. Like, there's some other, you know, you got some clips and stuff that you
Yeah,
can
we
like,
got some clips that
pepper.
we'll hyperlink in there and just say, hey y'all, come watch these.
Yeah, do that.
But thank you so much for being here. Y'all check out what Shauna's doing all the time on Facebook, because she's almost as much as a staff of an arts organization. So shout out to that, because girl, I don't know how you're handling it, but it's a lot.
Oh my gosh. I really appreciate this opportunity to do this, because it's, you know, the one of the major gifts of this shift, where everybody has to like literally press pause and for this indefinite amount of time, is that it is bringing out a different wave of creativity and a different way that we, artist to presenter, can direct connect in advance and like build value for ourselves, build value for the audiences. Your audiences can get to know your artists way, way, way before they come. So they're just like, oh, well, you know, usually what they program is good, I guess I'll go. Or we're not doing anything else this night, I guess we'll go. Or we should support the arts, I don't know who she is, but I guess we'll go. You know, it's not that. It's like, oh yeah, I saw that live stream. I hope they do Hiding in the Light. That song is so beautiful, you know? And then they come, they're invested in a different way. We're all invested in a different way.
And I'm just really excited to be able to meet the artist prior to load in. I mean, a lot of the times it's like, I've seen a lot of videos of you. You've never seen my face. Hi, how are you?
Hi.
But
we've
now
been emailing forever.
Right. And sometimes it's like, I've been emailing your management forever, and now, hi, we're having a conversation for the first time. But it's been really cool to talk with you and just learn so much about you. And I understand why the people at South Arts and every other venue love you so much. You're just a fun person to talk to, and I'm excited to have you.
Thank you so much. This set up my whole, this ended my week right and set up my whole weekend.
Aww.
So people are going to have to work hard to top this. Just saying, general public, y'all going to have to work hard to top this experience.
Y'all be ready. Thank you, Shana. I'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Brian. Bye. Bye.